Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today I've got for you something a little bit different in terms of it's about differentials. So we're going to do a video today. I'm going to identify 8 different differentials that you might want to have between now and the end of the season. Only 3 game weeks left, of course. I've got all kinds of different differentials for you, all different positions, all different price ranges. So hopefully there's going to be something in here for you today. But it is a very good time, guys, if you do want to get a differential or 2 in your team, whether you're trying to chase a mini league rival, maybe you're just trying to improve your rank. There's only so far you can get by transferring in players like, Kane, Bamford, Son, Dallas, these really popular players. You can only get so far with them. So sometimes if you really want to make a difference in your rank, you kind of got to think outside the box a little bit. And that's what I'm going to try and help you do today. Pick out some players that could be the difference between a decent rank and a very good rank, because it's not long left to make any changes. This could be it. This could be the big difference maker for your team and for your season. So my first differential is Ederson. Now, a few people have been asking me recently, who is the best goalkeeper to go for right now? A lot of people find they've got, say Mendy as their goalkeeper right now. And since Mendy doesn't actually play in game week 36, you want to switch to another goalkeeper. So who's going to be the best goalkeeper to take for you from now until the end of the season? Well, I think that is probably going to be Ederson. So he's playing for the best defence in Man City. They're kind of been the best defence over the last 5 games. They've got the lowest shots conceded, the lowest shots in the box conceded, lowest big chances conceded, lowest expected goals conceded, lowest actual goals conceded as well. So in every metric per game played, Man City are the best defence in every way. So that's a very good, a positive sign. The fixtures they've got: Newcastle, who are, who are without Wilson, Brighton, who are without Maupay and without Dunk as well for this game, and Everton, who have been kind of a more defensive team recently as well. So although I wouldn't expect too many save points, because he gets a couple, but not a huge amount. These are some fixtures where we can be really sure that there's going to be a couple of clean sheets here. And honestly, between now and the end of the season, Ederson, I think, could get 3 out of 3 clean sheets and become the highest scoring goalkeeper over this period. I don't think Ederson is going to be rotated, as Pep is going to want to keep him focused, ready for the Champions League final. He also wasn't rotated that time Man City won the league by landslide a couple of seasons ago. Ederson was literally playing every single game right until the end. So if that is to say anything, I think there's a lot of, clues to say that Ederson is just going to be nailed on right until the end of the season, playing every game, and fingers crossed, picking up a few clean sheets as well. I should say on Ederson, although it says 9.3% ownership as well, I do think it's worth noting that a lot of the people who do own Ederson are people who made their teams at the beginning of the season and haven't really touched their team since. And therefore, the people in the higher ranks, if you're in top 200k, top 100k, maybe even better than that, the amount of people with Ederson in their team is going to be minimal. We're talking maybe 1 or 2% of managers, because at the higher ranks, Ederson is hardly owned at all. Next up is Sofao. It's 7% owned. I remember back earlier in the season when we kind of first discovered Sofao on this channel, I think. We were the first, FPL community to start talking about Sofao and start bringing him in before the masses joined in. But he still is a differential to this day to a degree. 4.7 million is a real bargain as well if you are looking for that cheaper defender to help you out for the remainder of the season. Obviously, these fixtures are really good. Lots to play for West Ham as well. West Ham, I guess, to be completely honest, and I've said this before, they haven't been great defensively, but they have in the defence of their defence, had a few injuries. So kind of Creswell, Rice, Ogbonna, Masuaku, Noble as well recently. All of those players, you would say, have a contribution to the defensive side of West Ham's game. And since they've all been out, particularly Declan Rice, I think that's a real big miss. They haven't been so good defensively. Now, with those players all potentially coming back within the next week or so, that could mean that maybe West Ham's defensive form, I guess, changes around a little bit. But so far, we're really actually looking at him from his attacking threat. So in the last 5 games, 3 shots, 2 in the box, 1 big chance. He actually hit the inside of the post last game against Everton, which was very close to being a goal. 0.5 expected assists, 9 key passes, 2 big chances created, 1.16 expected assists, and 3 actual assists. And if we actually extend it to his last 6 games rather than his last 5 games, he's actually got 4 assists in his last 6 games, which is not too bad. Antonio as well being back, that's going to give so far more opportunities to cross the ball in to Antonio. Antonio finishes it off. And speaking of the devil, he is another one of our differentials, 5.6% owned. Again, and it's the same situation with a lot of these players, because sometimes you look at the percentage owned and it's not just about what it says on the FPL website, the overall percentage owned, but how many people in your area of the ranking it has this player. So whether you're ranked around 800,000th in the world, how many people around 800,000th have that player? If you're ranked really highly, you know, top 10,000 in the world, how many people in the top 10,000 have this player? Now, Antonio, he does still have a degree of ownership, a kind of 5.6% ownership, but that is kind of a throwback to teams who have been inactive since Antonio was on fire around Christmas time, around January time. A lot of people bought Antonio in then, and then since then, they've kind of become inactive, they've dropped down the ranks, and we don't really need to worry about those players. In terms of active players, Antonio, again, real differentials here. 6.4 million, which is a pretty decent price. When he's fit, he's a really safe bet. He's always been a safe bet whenever he's been fit. He plays Brighton next, who, like I said earlier, they're without Dunk, they're possibly without Veltman as well, which is interesting. Then West Brom, then Southampton, so kind of two of the worst defences in the league. West Ham have lots to play for in these games against teams who have nothing to play for. I mean, West Brom, they've been relegated. Brighton are safe from relegation. Southampton, I don't know what they're up to be honest. And although Antonio didn't really get many opportunities versus Everton, due to some really good defending, to be fair, from Everton, that game against Burnley the West Ham played was kind of Antonio's first since returning from injury. He did pretty well in that game. He got 6 shots in that game, 5 of them in the box, 2 big chances, 1.02 expected goals, and of course we know he got 2 goals in that game as well. So he can kind of get in behind, he can score from crosses, he can score headers. He has a fairly creative team around him, to be fair, who are ready to give him that service as well. So despite being a bit of a differential, I think he could be genuinely one of the top scoring players full stop over the next 3 matches. So definitely a player that I'm looking to get into my team, and yeah, as a differential, I recommend you do it too. Next is Mane at 5.4%. He's a little bit more of a premium differential, I guess. I was thinking about I wanted to put one as premium differential in this video, if you like. I thought about putting Gareth Bale in. I don't know, a little bit too risky for my liking. Danny Ings, again, a bit too risky. So I settled on Mane in the end. I'm not sure if Mane is a Salah replacement necessarily, though he has almost been matching Salah's stats recently, which is nice to see. So over the last 5 games, 13 shots, all in the box, 6 big chances, 2 goals, which is actually underperforming his expected goals of 2.96. 4 big chances created too, which is pretty nice. He's actually the highest expected assists in the whole Liverpool squad as well, which is pretty good. Now, I would never, ever transfer Salah out and bring in Mane. I think that's a very bad transfer move. But I think the real differential would be to kind of double up on both Mane and Salah. You know, if you have neither Mane nor Salah, I would probably just pick Salah, to be honest. Maybe go for Mane if you're feeling really risky, but I think the real differential is going to be the doubling up on it. Now, not a lot of other premium options are really worth picking right now. Many of us have dropped Kane. Some of you might want to sell Bruno because obviously he's blanking this game week. Maybe Mane in, Bruno out, and go all in on that Liverpool attack. That could kind of work. They've got great fixtures against 3 of the worst defences in the league. Again, there's a bit of a pattern here, isn't there? West Brom, Burnley, Crystal Palace. This could be a really nice, huge differential combo to have both Salah and Mane. It can work. It is a bit aggressive on the Liverpool front, but you know, if Liverpool do really well the last 3 games, this could actually be an absolute masterstroke, especially if Mane outscores Salah, because that is just such a differential. Next is Rafinha at 5.1 million. Again, a lot of inactive teams have Rafinha in their teams because he's been injured for a while. So hopefully, guys, if you are active FPL players, you're going to be in a higher rank than some of these inactive players. You can pick up Rafinha for this lower price. Most active players have recently sold him because of his injuries, I guess, and his price has dropped. His ownership has dropped, and he's become that differential again, and we absolutely love him for it. Again, great fixtures. Burnley, Southampton, West Brom. We kind of know that Leeds have a really nice finish to the season. We've spoken about this for a while. You know, all these fixtures as well are particularly good for those attacking players. Rafinha is one of the most creative players in the league, if not the most creative player you could possibly say. He's created the most big chances of any player in 2021, by the way. 10 big chances created. That's insane. And he's also 6th for key passes in 2021. He's 2nd for assists in 2021. Expected assists, sorry. which is kind of really even more impressive considering he's missed a few games from injury over the past few weeks, hasn't he? So he does shoot a fair amount too, but he's more impressive creatively, really. He's really cheap. He provides better value for money than Bamford, I would say. And if you're thinking about buying Lingard and Bamford, for example, because I guess Lingard and Bamford are the obvious choice, they're going to be the choice that most people are going to be making. They want to bring in those two players. You could actually switch it about and go for Rafinha and Antonio instead. Same combination of getting in on that West Ham attack and the Leeds attack, but you've got a different combination, a combination that is far more differential, and in my opinion, could actually be far better as well. So, yeah, I think you could go for that if you're thinking about doing something like that, but overall, just Rafinha is a decent shout to go for. Chris Wood next, and he is 3.5% owned. He is making a bit of a return from my last differentials video. He's kind of done really well since I put him in the last differentials video. So well, kind of thing, that I was kind of like, wow, that one was so successful. Picking out some differentials last time. We had a few other successful differentials, kind of Cavani, Greenwood. I can't remember who else was in that video now, but there was a few really successful ones, which is why I thought, let's do it again. But Wood is going to make a return on the differentials because not enough people picked him up, I guess. Not enough people went for him, but if those of you did go for him, wow, you must be on cloud 9 right now. So kind of whilst we've all been raving about Iheanacho, Wood has kind of been just as good as Iheanacho. I guess just for a less flashy team. I guess he's, a less fashionable player, I guess, so we haven't really noticed it as well. So no other forwards are kind of matching Iheanacho and Wood in terms of productivity for forwards. Both players have scored 5 and assisted 2 in the past 5 game weeks. Now the difference is Wood and Burnley have played 1 less game than Leicester and Iheanacho. So Wood is actually arguably better because he's done the same as Iheanacho, but in 1 less game. In the last 5 games for Wood, 21 shots, 14 in the box, 6 big chances. Kind of no other player is beating his big chances. 3.75 expected goals. Again, no other player in the league can beat that stat over the past 5 game weeks. It's mad. He's on penalties too. He's arguably the best player in the entire league in terms of recent form. He's returned 7 in 7 of his last 8 games. That's a really nice streak of returns. Only 1 game he's not returned, so again, crazy. I think he'll continue to be great now, kind of until the end of the season, because the fixtures they're okay. There's obviously some nice ones. Leeds first, that's okay. He could maybe do it against Liverpool potentially, but that Gameweek 38 fixture versus Sheffield United is the real peach, isn't it? So Burnley are scoring goals. It seems to always be going through this guy. If you're looking for an Iheanacho replacement who is equally as productive as Iheanacho, except you want a player who plays 3 fixtures instead of Iheanacho who only plays 2 fixtures for the remainder of the season, Wood could just be a really obvious switch to go for. Next up, Alan Saint-Maximin at 2.9% owned. 5.1 million, so really cheap player as well. You possibly wouldn't want him for Game Week 36, but whipping boys Sheffield United, they're next, and then another really tempting fixture against another relegated team in Fulham. Saint-Maximin has just looked fantastic recently, in my opinion. I don't know how much of you guys have been watching of him, but he just looks, insane in that Newcastle team. Newcastle have actually been scoring quite a few goals recently, way more than usual. However, how much is that to do with kind of Wilson? Wilson's now injured again. This could impact on Saint-Maximin, I guess. But the last 5 games for Saint-Maximin, 11 shots, 6 in the box, 2 big chances, 1.5 expected goals, 1 goal gained from that, 9 key passes, 2 big chances created and 2 assists as well. Now, I'm not fully convinced by this one, but Newcastle do play Sheffield United, and Alan Saint-Maximin is kind of their most explosive player. If you kind of don't want to spend 5.1 million, you're feeling like really cheap, you could maybe go for Willock as an alternative. Willock even lower owned, even cheaper at 4.7 million. He's scoring for fun as well at the moment, but Alan Saint-Maximin's underlying stats look better, and I do think Saint-Maximin is the better football player as well, so for that reason I'd be a little bit more confident in him. I just kind of think those 2 Newcastle players are really, really good if you're looking for a real budget 5th midfielder type player in your squad. You could go for them and make sure you play them against Sheffield United, because there could be a few points in there for you. Let's round you off with Nat Phillips at 2.3% ownership, 4.1 million. which is the big point really. So kind of with Liverpool, Salah and Trent are the two most important Liverpool players you should have in your team. After that, you can either go for Mane, as I mentioned earlier, or maybe take a defensive route with Phillips. The advantage of Phillips is that he's ridiculously good value and an amazing budget enabler, despite being a guaranteed starter for Liverpool. Now, just the fact that you can get a guaranteed starter in the Liverpool defence for 4.1 million, it's ridiculous value. It's value you very, very rarely see in FPL. It's incredibly rare to get this kind of value, I guess. Liverpool kind of got a lot to play for. Top 4 still on the cards. 3 kind fixtures. I think there could be clean sheets in the games against West Brom and Crystal Palace in particular. Liverpool's defence isn't amazing, but it's not bad either. And I think that's, if Liverpool's defence was amazing, then Phillips would be an absolute must-have. But it's kind of the fact that, they're not bad. They're kind of above average if you kind of look at things. I think Liverpool's defence is a lot better, to be fair, when Phillips is playing as well, so that is another factor. I think that's kind of proven. Phillips 3 clean sheets in his last 5 appearances, so that does suggest that maybe Phillips does improve that team, and I think most people would agree with that. Over the past 5 game weeks, Liverpool's in general rank of defences is kind of between 5th best defence and 9th best defence in the underlying stats, depending on which stat you look at. So they're up there, but they're not a super defence. They're above average, that's for sure. 4.1 million though, still amazing value, and if you can spend the money that you save by going for Phillips elsewhere, well, this could really be worth going for. So guys, those are the differentials that I've come up with. I am sure a few of these are going to have some nice big scores between now and the end of the season. So do let me know in the comments which one are you going to go for out of these. And if you're not going for any of these, which differential are you going to go for instead? And let's kind of see who you guys fancy as differentials as well. Of course, like the video if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe if you're new around here as well. I'd really appreciate that. And I guess good luck picking your differentials for the rest of the season, because this is kind of make or break for your rank, isn't it? There's so little time left, and this is going to be the last time to go for an impactful differential that's going to last actually a few game weeks. So yeah, exciting times as we come to the end of the season. I've got my team selection video out tomorrow where I will show you what I'm doing with my team, how I'm getting on in game week 35. And in terms of game week 36, my usual buy, sell, keep, avoid video I posted yesterday. Go check that out for my general transfer tips that are not all about differentials. And that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.